Alright, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. It is Thursday, so you know what that means. Inside Star Citizen. Now, I don't know how they're going to beat last week's. Last week's was one of my favorites. I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I like trading, and they were talking about the whole series ships and stuff, but last week's I had a lot of fun. This week's is called Favoring the Bold. I honestly have no idea what it's about. So we're just going to find out here together. I want to get back into making more videos consistently, but it's been rough. I want to get back into Star Citizen, but there's just nothing drawing me in at the moment. But yeah, maybe, you know, we'll get some more motivation from this. I can't wait. Like I said, last week we talked about Cargo Refactor and Pyro, and they had the whole series shit. There was so much in that episode, and it was great. But anyway, let's see what this one's all about. Let's pull this down. Oh, wrong button. And let's give it a go and see what it's all about. All right. I'll try not to pause.
I think we all can agree that looting was definitely a great addition to Star Citizen.
Loot.
I love that players are exploring and looking for interesting stuff around the universe.
So, listen, we're 18 seconds in. It's better than last week. Last week we were 4 seconds in before I paused. So yeah, looting's a good addition to the game. I personally, I think I talked about this last week as well. It's just a little clunky for me, the looting system right now. I'm sure they're still working on it. But, you know, compared to a lot of other MMOs, where the inventory system is super fluid and easy to understand like that, I think the Star Citizen one's a little bulky and cloaky. Cloaky. It's cloaky, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. As far as this is concerned, the reason I paused, him saying people are exploring, looking for good loot. Is that the case? Is that really happening? Are people actually going out to find things, to explore, to find loot? I didn't think that was a thing. Because the loot's not that great, right? That you find? All the loot that I've found when I've played has been ammo and like a pistol. It's a knife maybe. And like maybe two like fruits. I haven't heard of anyone going out exploring, looking for loot. Maybe I misheard him.
I love that players are exploring and looking for interesting stuff around the universe.
Tell me if you are. And also tell me what loot you found that was like, wow, this is great. You know what I mean?
For 3.17, loot is going to be much more exciting and valuable for all the players.
Oh, good. Oh, that is better. Better weapons, better ammo or armor.
Up until right now,
it's still not enough to make me want to go looting. You know what I mean? Like, even if you get really good guns in these loot boxes, even if it's like a rail gun and like some really cool armor, you can just buy that for not that much in game. So I don't know how they can fix it to make you want to go exploring for loot, other than putting loot in these boxes that's not available for purchase. Because then that would make me want to go looking, right? If I could find armor that was super rare, that, you know, you can't buy in game, you can't buy, you know, on the RSI website, things that were just unique to loot boxes, then I would do it. I would go exploring and looking through cave systems and, you know, through derelict ships and things like that. But as of right now, if you can loot things that are already purchasable, it doesn't excite me to go looking for it. You know what I mean? I'd love to know what you think about it, but that's just how I feel.
Players got the same loot in different locations, so you could go to Korea or a cave or an outpost and potentially have the same content. For 3.17 though, we are changing that, and
Good.
Now we are tailoring the content for each location. The other addition, because up until right now, all the content was considered common content that you could even buy in shops, we are now adding the concept of rarity. We have 3 different types of rarity.
That's what I'm talking about! Okay. I should have listened. I shouldn't have paused. I should have listened. Okay, so they're adding rarity, which is cool, but it still needs to be things you can't... Well, he was just... You know what? Let me just continue listening.
Could even buy in shops. We are now adding the concept of rarity. We have 3 different types of rarity, so it's the common one, the uncommon one, and rare one. The uncommon one is going to be items that are not...
Let's look at that, though. This is the common one, and this is the issue that I had. The reason I didn't, like I say, I didn't go exploring. Because this is what I would get, and it wasn't even this much, to be fair. But, you know, it would be like a pistol and some ammo, and the ammo didn't fit the gun. Maybe it did, and I'm just thinking of it wrong. And like a crappy helmet and stuff. But, I mean, this looks like it's more than it was already. So let's continue.
Available in the shops anymore. For example, security armor not available in the shops anymore.
Come on.
For rarity, so it's the common one, the uncommon one, and rare one. The uncommon one is going to be items that are not available in the shops anymore. For example, security armor or pirate armor, it's content that it's specific for a group of people. In order to make rarity a viable option, it was always intended to remove some of the items from the shops.
Yeah, I get that. That's good. I like that idea.
And
that's the thing. You don't even need to make new armor to make it rare. It would be cool if you did. But just removing stuff that you already have and making it rare. Yeah, I'm down. I love that.
Items definitely are the ones that are going to be more exciting for everyone, for sure. Don't expect to have a high percentage of spawning. We are very keen into spawn only a little bit of them. But rare items, we are applying more or less the same philosophy with ships. So eventually rare items will end up in the loot pool and can be found in different lootable crates.
Obviously, with looting becoming such a big feature in the game, we kind of need an ability for you to sell the loot that you've been acquiring this whole time. To do that, we're going to be updating the shop system and item shops with a brand new kiosk that will have a...
How cool would it be when the Banu Merchantman comes out? That all of, you know, you can go to the stores that are in, you know, New Babbage or on, you know, just outposts or, not outposts, space stations and things like that. And you can buy all this common loot. And then once the Banu Merchantman's out, you'll have these ships, right? Player ships scattered across the verse. That's, in my opinion, as well, the rare stuff would be. And it would force people, not force people, but it would make people want to come to you and your Banu Merchantman because that's where the rare loot is. Like if I was looking for some cool armor, some cool guns, something that's really rare that you can't find in stores, you know, you would go to these players that are selling it in their Banu Merchantman. That would be sick, and I'm sure that's where it's gonna go. But that excites me.
A much improved user experience that will allow you to sell your various items. So for 3.17, the system determining what can be sold where and for how much is going to be very simple. Basically, if a shop sells...
So you can buy and sell in stores now. Not just... Okay.
An item of a certain type, they sell guns, they sell ship parts. You can then sell to that shop items of that type.
I mean, that's cool. Honestly, it's like opened up a new form of trading. People that enjoy trading, right? Now you can have looters. But like with trading, you'll fill up a Caterpillar or a C2 or a Hull Series ship or whatever it is, and then go to a terminal and then sell your cargo. Whereas this, you know, you can have people that go looting. That can just go flying around the verse, go into all these outposts, looking for rare items or any sort of item to sell, you know? I think that's really cool. You're going to need a ship that has a big storage, right? Maybe you take a C2 around. Or a Caterpillar or something. And then just straight up, just go looting. Get a group of you together. I'm down for this. And then just go looting. And then go and sell all that loot. Because, I mean, like you just saw, you can sell these things. Like this right here, the Pyro Burst Scattergun. I mean, that's 6k. Which isn't a lot. It depends how much time it takes to get this stuff. But, you know, that's a decent amount of stuff, right?
The pricing will be as follows. It will start at 90% of the price that the shop sells it for. And depending on their current inventory, it will fall down to 50% with 50% being that they are absolutely full on that item. If they do not have that exact item in their inventory, you will default down to 50% because, frankly, they don't really want to stock that thing anyways.
Interesting. I'm sure this will get tweaked a lot, you know, in the next coming years. It's just like trading, right? Where, you know, it's all connected, so you can't buy, like, titanium, for example, because it's connected throughout all the servers. So it's always, like, empty, and you got to sit and wait. And I've heard a lot of people say they do that on purpose to waste time. You know, it's a time sink. They want people to sit there and wait. Which kind of, a game like this doesn't make... I don't know, I guess loading your ship is better time wasting thing. Because, you know, you're actually doing something, but just sitting there waiting just seems kind of... It ruins the immersion for me. But with this... You know, how many people... How much does it take until they get full? You know what I mean? Like, if I have 5 guns, and I sell those 5 guns, does that mean it'll drop to 50% right away because we've sold 5? I feel like this is the verse, right? It should be thousands before they drop the price, but you know that's probably not going to be the case. But, anyway.
Rarity, of course, will come into play for this, but basically the base prices of items will help to determine how much they sell for. There has been a small pass to just kind of update some of these prices to fall within line of the fact that certain items now can't be found in stores, and certain items are going to be very difficult to find in the boxes throughout the world. And of course, the Pico Balls will be the most valuable item in all of the persistent universe.
Most valuable item in all of the persistent universe. Do we need to go Pico Ball hunting? Has anyone found one yet? When are the Pico Balls in there now, or are they coming? Because if they're... When are they coming? I feel like this would be a good stream for us to get together and just go hunting for Pico Balls. You know what I mean? This game could be fun. The most valuable item. I wonder how much they're worth. At that point, though, do you want to sell it or do you want to hold on to it? Probably sell it. We're traders, what can I say? But, interesting, though. Interesting. I've never seen.
One of the features that we're really happy that we included in this is when you are selling something with
what I was going to say is the rarity of items. The items that they've taken away from the item shop, that they've made rare, it needs to be obvious when you come across it. You know? Like, no matter what MMO you're playing, a lot of times when you get rare items, they're color-coded, right? So you can tell if they're like legendary items. And I feel like it should have something like that with these items that are going to be rare. Otherwise, you know, a lot of the armor looks similar, right? So you wouldn't pick it up. But knowing an item's rare would make you want to hold on to it a little bit more. But there needs to be some sort of system that shows you the rarity of an item. Whether it's a color code, which I don't think this game would do because it's not realistic. Or even if it just says, you know, uncommon, common, rare, whatever it is. I feel like there needs to be something. Because I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? Would you know if you stumbled across a rare item? You know? There's a lot of armor in the game that I've never purchased. And you know, if I saw it in a loot box, I wouldn't know if it's rare or not.
Attachments, you can, on the spot, go through and detach those attachments in the selling interface so that they don't get sold. Let's say that you're trying to sell a sniper rifle and you have a really nice scope on it. You will see that when you go to make that transaction and be able to say, oh, actually, I want to keep that.
That's cool.
One problem that we are aware of in all interfaces that deal with items of this type is stacking. The stacking system in personal inventory and in now this shop screen, which uses the same stacking method, means that it can be a little annoying to move large quantities of the same item. We don't have an immediate perfect solution for that where we can stack items that are identical, but in the short term we did a little solution where there's just a quick sell button on each item in the list. Fair warning to all of you, there is no buyback button at this time, so if you sell something, it is gone. Be careful. And of course, with inventory, where we want it to go in the future, we want it to be that as you are selling these items, it is affecting the inventory of the store so that it is becoming more and more that other players can then purchase. We're not clear as the time of this recording if that's going to make it for 317, but that is definitely a goal going forward. We're going to be monitoring both how you guys are using this new kiosk and how many things you're selling in order to help balance both the amount of loot and how much each piece of loot sells for. We also are very interested in any feedback that comes in for the user experience of that selling. So
it can't be any worse. Like, I know they're monitoring it because they probably don't want people to start making millions and millions super easy. But it can't be worse than like the Christmas envelope or the envelopes we used to get or the Christmas presents that would sell for 1,000 each, because you could find those everywhere. Whereas this stuff, like you can see in the background here, it's only, you know, for this, it's selling for 589, right? So it's still less than the Christmas presents and stuff. But, you know, this would encourage me to go just searching. Go to all the outposts that you've never been to before, the crashed, you know, derelict ships, things like that, just to, you know, grab all this. I hope it's fluid and easy to do. You know, grab all this stuff up, load it onto your ship. Hopefully you can land your ship, kind of like you do with cargo right now, and just leave it on your ship and then be able to sell it from your ship, if the ship's in the same location you are, obviously. I hope you don't have to take it off your ship and store it in like the spaceport or whatever, or in New Babbage. Well, like, I mean, take it off the ship, put it in their storage is what I'm saying. But I don't know, we'll see.
So please let us know how things are going. We are listening, and this is going to be something that we're going to be very interested in making a better and better experience as time goes on.
The advancements in loot generation and implementation of selling are two key aspects of any MMO, and their arrival in Star Citizen heralds a continuing push.
You know what would be cool in Star Citizen? I'm pretty sure World of Warcraft has it, but I've never really played that game. Maybe a couple hours my whole life. But I did play New World, however. And the thing that I loved, if you watch me play New World, you'll know, is I loved trading. Just like I do in every game. But, you know, using the auction house. I think an auction house in this game, let me know what you think. Maybe a lot of people are against it, I don't know why. But I think having an auction house would be sick. Maybe that's what the Banu Merchantman ships become. I don't know, but I think having an auction house would be cool. The thing is with this game as an MMO, there's nothing people need. Like in New World, for example, there's tons of materials and stuff, obviously, that you use to craft things. You know, there's weapons that are rare. Like I say, in this game, you can just buy whatever you want. There's no rarities. Having rare items in this game, I think, would be huge. I think it would make people want to do things. Like, imagine if it's known that caves has a higher % chance of spawning rare items in loot boxes, right? I would be going through caves all the bloody time. I'd go looking all over the place. But yeah, whereas in this game right now, at least, there's no rarities, there's nothing people want to buy. You know, there's no reason. Like I say, in like a game like New World, you want the best weapons because it helps you a lot in combat. You want the best armor because it helps you a lot. You know, in this game, I can't imagine, other than just cosmetic, it meaning that much as of right now. I'm sure they'll change it in the future. Something that's also interesting that I think would be good for like an auction house type thing would be, or even if it was just, like I say, the Banu Merchantmen. The people that own those ships could use that as kind of like an auction house. But having, when the Pioneer comes out and you can make your own, you know, compounds and your own outposts. I hope that to build your own outposts, and I'm sure this is going to be the case, you're going to need materials. You're going to need things to build it. And I think the things you need to build it, you should have to go mining for to get it. Or maybe you could buy it in small amounts at certain locations around the map, and not that much. But the majority comes from mining it. And I think that would create this economy where you could have an org, like MLTC, for example, or you could do it individually, where, you know, you have people go out and mine, they get all of these materials, and then you sell all of this materials on like a Banu merchantman. So if you're building your own outpost somewhere with your Pioneer, you're going to need materials for that. And when you need materials, you're going to have to take, you know, your Caterpillar or C2 or whatever ship it is over to someone who has like a Banu merchantman, and then buy all of the materials from them. Because they're going to be going out farming all this stuff, bringing it back to their ship, and then selling it. Because that's what, when this comes out, Pioneers, or the Pioneer ship, and creating your own compounds, you're going to need materials. And I think the best place to buy them would be from players, kind of like an auction house. And I think that's where it would be really cool. And like I say, keep it in the Pioneer maybe, so you can sell it all on your Pioneer. But I also think, you know, how would people know where the Pioneer ship is? How would people know where to purchase it? Because even in a game like New World, it's a fixed auction house, so it would be like at Lorville, and, you know, fixed locations that you could see where things are. And players can put things on the auction house and sell, buy and sell. But I think with the Banu Merchantman, it's up to the individual, right? So if someone's in global chat like, hey, I need X, Y, and Z, you know, you could be like, hey, you know, I have that, I'm in a Banu Merchantman, meet me at this location, and then you can, you know, trade and sell things from there. That would be sick. And that's way in the future. You know, the Banu Merchantman's not out yet, Cargo Refactor's not out yet. You know, I'm sure Cargo Refactor will come out, but the Banu, when that comes out, it's its own, like, business, right? The Banu. So that's going to take years. I honestly don't think the Banu Merchantman's going to be where it needs to be for at least like 2 or 3 years, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is. But yeah,
push to reward players for venturing out into that dangerous unknown to seek their fortunes. And because the unknown can be so hazardous, let's take a look now at the current state of medical gameplay, what's being adjusted for Alpha 3.17, and what's on the horizon after that.
I'm sorry. There's people out there, you guys, that enjoy medical gameplay. I'm not knocking medical gameplay. It's a really cool asset to the game. It's something fun and exciting. It's something that I think will become more fun and needed years from now. And that's what they're doing right now, talking about, you know, all these new fixes and additions, which is great. I'm happy they're doing it. It's just something that I'm personally not as interested in. But we're going to look and see what they have in store.
So the response to healing was quite heartening.
There was some really good community engagement around the feature. I remember at one stage on Reddit.
Community engagement. The only thing that happened when this got released is I was being chased around the bloody verse with people trying to drug me. That's what happened.
I think it was even before the feature was released, someone had posted a survival guide, and it was just really cool to see how excited people were about the feature.
It's a really...
I think, yes, there's a lot of people excited for the feature. I think you also have to understand that people are excited for anything new, right? If people love this game, especially the hardcore people that, you know, play it day in, day out. Any new thing you give us as a community, we're going to be stoked about. It's the longevity that I think is important. So, you know, if people are excited about something that just comes out, and then after, you know, a week, 2 weeks, a month, it just, boom, plummets, and then people don't care as much, that to me means more. So, like, you know, I'm sure when they brought mining out, you know, there was hype, but that continued and continued, and people still mine and love mining. Was the medical gameplay, yeah, it was exciting and new, and then it just kind of fell off and no one cares.
Really expansive system, so there's lots of different parts, and it was a lot to sort of get everything working.
It was great to see that people were happy and excited about various aspects of the healing.
the medical bed UI in particular.
It was just people drugging each other. That's what they were excited about. They were chasing each other around and then making everyone drunk, and yeah, that's what happened. That's why people were excited.
Which is the main thing I worked on, has a lot of depth to it in terms of adding to the feeling that it's a real hospital and a real place, and you can do sort of, you're really healing yourself.
Again, to me, I don't feel there's something missing. I don't feel the immersion when it comes to medical gameplay. It feels to me more of a chore task of getting up and getting out than it does immersive medical gameplay. And I don't know what the answer is to it. I don't. But like when I have to heal myself or do stuff like this, I'm not doing it like, oh, this is sick gameplay. Look, I can do that. It feels more like it's just, this is what you have to do in order to be able to get up and get back out again. And I don't know how they could tweak that to make it feel super immersive and, you know, feel like a cool thing to do. Like I keep talking, I always compare medical to prison, which doesn't make any sense. But the reason I do is because it's something that takes you out of the game and puts you into a scenario where you have to complete things in order to be better or get out, right? Where, you know, with health, you know, you have to complete these steps, heal yourself, stuff like that, take all this, you know, they have these syringe things now and all of this, like med pens. And then in prison, obviously you can do jobs and stuff in prison, or you can escape. So they're both things that take you out of the game for a second. But I think the prison one is a lot more fun and immersive, whereas this, and that's prison, whereas this feels more like prison to me. I would much rather be sent to prison than be sent to a hospital. And that shouldn't be the case. You know what I'm saying? Surely, I hope I'm explaining this right. But currently, I would much prefer to be sent to prison in this game than to be sent to one of these freaking medical hospitals. I enjoy that way more than hospital. It's like it's the opposite, man. I'd love to know what you guys think, and I know they're still working on this hospital stuff, but it's just not fun for me. It is so boring. And again, listen, this isn't me hating on it. I know there's people that love it. You know, there's something for everyone, and not everyone likes everything. And for me, that's the whole health thing. And again, I said this last week, I hate in real life hospitals and stuff, so maybe that is why I hate this in game too. But yeah, they gotta figure something out to just make it more interesting. And I don't know what that is. And it makes me think, do we even need it? You know? In a game like this, do we need this? Or does it just feel like a chore? I mean, these guys are saying people were super excited and love it. Let me know if you're one of those people that are super excited and love medical gameplay. And let me know what it is you're looking forward to with medical gameplay. Like, I talk a lot about my goals and dreams of what I would want out of this game in the future. I talked about it a lot more last video, so you can go check that out if you want to hear me rambling again. But what's if you are somebody that's interested and excited about the health, what is it that excites you? What is it that your goal is in the future for health? Where do you want this to go? What direction? Because as of right now, do you agree with me that it kind of feels like a chore more than a cool game mechanic? Let me know in the comments. Alright, let's continue.
I really enjoy the fact that there is some consequence to death now. That there's a sense of...
See, this though is... Okay. So... consequence to death, yes. But everyone I've spoken to about it or seen playing it hates dying. It's not that people are like, oh, I can't die because then I have to go retrieve my stuff. It's like, I don't want to die because then I'm going to lose everything. People don't even think that they're going to go retrieve their stuff because it is not as easy as this video here is making it out to be. Because this isn't like 7 Days to Die, where you die and you can, with a little bit of struggle, you can still go back to your backpack and retrieve all of your stuff very easily, very simply, and it maybe takes 10 minutes or so. Whereas this is awful. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but Star Citizen, we're in a universe. This isn't, 7 days where you've got a small map. If you die in this, getting back to your corpse, it's more hassle than it is worth. It's like if I died on, I don't know, Microtech, but I was in a certain location where, you can't easily jump to, and then I just respawned over on Lawville. Oh my god. Is it worth going all the way back to get your body? And is it easy? Does your body show up? Is your little backpack, is it easy? I think it ties in with the inventory system that I said is very bulky. What did I call it? Clunky. It ties in with that it's just not an easy system, the inventory. And this kind of, your death, going back to pick up your body is kind of like that too. I don't think I've ever died and gone back to my body. Unless I spawn on like a Cutlass Red next to it. But I do like that there's more consequences for dying. I think everyone likes that there is. But it needs to still be more fluid and simple. Because this isn't fun. This, to me, again, like the hospital, isn't a fun game mechanic. And dying, it shouldn't be fun. It should be something that you don't want to do. But it seems more of like, ugh. It's something that makes anything in a video game, in my opinion, that makes you like genuinely mad. Not like video game rages where you're like, you get mad and punch the table or whatever because you die and stuff. But anything that makes you genuinely like, oh, for God's, like, this is just, and then you stop playing for a month. It's not the right direction to go in.
Continuity. I don't just die and magically respawn somewhere. My corpse, consequence to death now. That there's a sense of continuity. I don't just die and magically respawn somewhere. My corpse is something I now have to go and find if I've put something important on it.
Yeah, but look at, even this video gives me anxiety. Oh, it's not fun at all. Like, pulling up this inventory, like, first of all, you gotta find this body, which is probably gonna take you an hour. And I like how his ship's still there and everything. It hasn't despawned, it hasn't blown up. Like, this is very, fake scenario. Let's be real here. But not only that, just seeing this, like, it just looks like there's too many steps. Like, I much prefer, New World does it, 7 Days to Die does it, I'm pretty sure Ark does it, where you can literally, instead of showing your actual body like this, just have a body here that's in the inventory that you can just drag and drop things onto. It's so much easier than having to drag it onto your actual physical character. Like, just have a body silhouette in this inventory that you can just drag things on and off to. Because dragging onto the physical body, it seems like it's way more detailed, and it seems like in theory, oh, that's even cooler than what these other games do, because we're actually using your actual body to... It's just not as user-friendly, in my opinion.
What we worked on is a T0 implementation, so it's bare bones. There's so much more to do.
Oh, that's cool. What the freaking hell is this? Big fan.
There are a few things we've fixed since then that should be coming out in 3.17.
And I know the things that I'm talking about, first of all, it's most likely going to be polished 1,000,000 times before it comes out, right? And they're testing things, it's trial and error. I just hope Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious if anyone agrees with me on this stuff. Maybe I'm just the one that needs to learn to deal with it. Maybe everyone else is like, no, dude, what are you talking about? You're just a freaking idiot. This stuff's sick. I love the way they do it. And that, if that's the case, then, you know, great. I'm happy for you, you know, the people that do enjoy it. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong here. I just, if people agree, and the majority of people agree with like what I'm saying about the inventory and stuff, I just hope they don't get the wrong idea thinking that people love it when they don't. I don't know.
Like saying that bleed is too harsh, and absolutely, we've addressed that. It was unfortunately an oversight on our part.
What was he on about there?
There are a few things we've fixed since then that should be coming out in 3.17. We've had feedback saying that bleed is too harsh, and absolutely.
What's too harsh to say? Say bleed? He's got to move his camera away from his face a little bit. It's like so muffled. Oh bloody! It's in his mouth. My man's literally like Get it out of your mouth! Somebody tell this poor guy that he shouldn't be sucking on his microphone.
T0 implementation, so
it's literally touching his lips. It does not need to be this close, my friend.
It's bare bones. There's so much more to do.
I think he says bleeding.
There are a few things we've fixed since then that should be coming out in 3.17. We've had feedback saying that bleed is too harsh, and absolutely, we've addressed that. It was
bleed is too harsh. Okay, you can't. Mics, you know, they're very sensitive to B's and P's and type sounds.
It's unfortunately an oversight on our part, and we've reduced the severity of bleeding, so you won't stop bleeding then, you know, keel over 2 seconds later.
That's good.
Instant death, we never want to have someone fall over and die immediately from a single like pistol shot to the head, or you know, the foot. We've covered a couple of issues that were causing that, so 3.17 we should see that removed entirely. We've also had feedback regarding sort of hunger thirst, and also the status system in general, just not persisting between like play sessions.
So yeah, now between logins, most of your stats will persist: your health, your injuries, your hunger and thirst. So
that's good. You know, having this type of consistent thing, I agree with that, because I feel like I never drink water in this game or eat. I know it's a thing, but I never do it because I never need to. I just don't. But I think having it persistent, obviously, will make me eat and drink because I will need to. Because you don't need to eat or drink if you're playing even for like 4 or 5 hours. You don't need to eat and drink. So, I don't know.
We'll see that gameplay back in the PU properly.
We've also had some feedback regarding the crime stats. This was one that I hadn't encountered, but sort of face-palmed when I saw it. If you ram your own corpse with a ship, you get a crime rating for it, and that's not obviously great. It's sort of an extra...
Yeah, that's stupid. I'm sure that's very, very small amount of people that's happened to, though.
Kick to your dignity. But thankfully, the Mission Feature Team guys have really drilled into that and fixed it. So 3.17.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's not... I'm not going to give you an award for that. I'm sorry. It shouldn't be there. It probably happened to 2 people. You fixed it.
Should be...
Why am I being so harsh all of a sudden? I don't know what's came over me. Snap at it! I was so happy a minute ago.
Removed, thankfully.
For the injuries not being seen enough, we've also added a bit of probability into it.
If you jump off a tree, there's every chance you're going to snap every bone in your body, or you're going to land like a cat. So we've introduced a little bit of a random element.
Is that good though? I don't think I like that. Why would there be probabilities? It's not like that in life. If I jump off the roof of my house 5 times, there's not the probability that, 3 out of the 5 times I land and roll over and get back up. Pretty much every single time I break a leg. Or die. Why is the probabilities in... I don't like that. That should be... Shouldn't that be consistent? Like if I jump off a tree and I don't die, then in my head it's just human nature. You're like, okay, I don't die when I jump off this tree. So then you know and you learn how high you can go before, you know, you die. It's like, okay, I can jump from this height without dying. If I go any higher, I'm gonna die and break a leg or whatever. But adding probability to that, like, oh, I can jump off a tree and then I'm fine, and then the next time I jump off, I break a leg. I think that's stupid. Why would you add probability to that? Am I going crazy? Surely I'm not the only one here. Adding probabilities to that sort of thing just seems weird.
Tree. There's every chance you're going to snap every bone in your body, or you're going to land like a cat. So we've introduced, you know, a little bit of a random element that doesn't scale linearly to try and achieve that, and it's really worked out, I think, quite well. We're seeing injuries more often, and it's not always at a gamified value that you reach.
No, why is this a thing? Have I lost the plot? I would love your thoughts and opinions on this in the comments, because I can't be the only one that thinks this is ridiculous. I think things like this need to be consistent. Why would you add a probability to something like this? I'm pretty sure every time you jump from something high, the same thing's gonna happen. I think this is stupid. It's also uneven. It makes things uneven. Like if I'm fighting somebody in combat on, let's say, I don't know where, but on some moon or planet somewhere, and then I jump off and land and keep running, and then they jump off to follow me and then break a leg or die. I don't know. I don't think I like it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, and I'm happy for you guys to help me see through this.
Beyond 317, there are other things we want to get into. We want to make improvements. Body dragging, for example, we know that's not exactly great right now. If you want to drag someone into an elevator, it can be a bit hit or miss. We're definitely looking to improve that. Some people just don't care about injuries because they just mash the die button and then respawn in their ship and then haha.
Yeah. But here's the thing. If people are doing that because the way that it happens is just so annoying, more than a fun game mechanic, then there's an issue there. I'll go back again to something like 7 Days to Die, right? People don't... If you're low on health in that game, you know, you'll try and fix yourself up, get some med kits, whatever it is, eat some food. People don't... You can just die and respawn full of health. People don't do that, though, because the downside to what's happening... It's bad, and it really affects your game. But fixing yourself up and moving on is way better than killing yourself and respawning. Whereas, same in this game, you know, if you're just gonna suicide, backspace, because it's the mechanic is just annoying, then you gotta fix the mechanic, not punish people for backspacing.
Not exactly great right now. If you want to drag someone into an elevator, it can be a bit hit or miss. We're definitely looking to improve that. Some people just don't care about injuries because they just mash the die button and then respawn in their ship and then haha, they move on. That won't be possible moving forward.
I'm sorry. It just... You've got to fix the reason people do that. Because I would say for the most... Sure, there's probably some people that just are like, I want to quickly get back and healthy. But I would say the majority of people that do it is because they don't enjoy the way the game plays up until that point. But then, so people backspace onto their ship because they're mad. And they, you know, they hate the way it's rolled, the way everything's happening while they're in that state. They'd rather just reset. But then you're like, nope, we're going to stop you from resetting. You can't do that anymore. Instead of fixing the issue, which is, you know, how can we make it more enjoyable and immersive? Instead of, I don't know. Let's see what this guy has to say anyway.
They move on. That won't be possible moving forward once we get some really big changes in. And again, this is, you know, quite a ways away. But, you know, things like permadeath, DNA degradation, being charged to respawn, the idea of your character dying forever and having to spawn next to kin. Those are all things we're fairly confident that are going to be coming in at some point in the distant future. The manner in which they come in, we've got an idea of how they're going to be developed and also how they're going to function. We have had lots of other feedback that I haven't covered so far, and the reason I've not addressed it.
CIG better. Someone needs to tell this man to move his mic away from his mouth. I'm struggling to hear what this guy's saying.
Because we don't yet have a solid idea of how we're going to address that, and we don't want to make any promises that we're not going to fulfill.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that loot is expanding into both rarity and variation.
Big fan of that. Big fan.
Beginning with Alpha 3.17 and beyond. That when combined with selling, a loop emerges to make your living as a potential treasure hunter.
Yeah.
And that
like that. Big fan.
medical gameplay continues to evolve with your feedback and testing, and there's plenty more yet still to come. Now remember that Stella Fortuna is upon us, and there are some really nice vehicle paints that you can learn more about on the robertsspaceindustries.com website. For Inside Star Citizen,
I want rare paints that you can't get in store, and I know they'll never do it because they make too much money from people buying the skins. Like any game in the history of games, the majority of the money is made from skins. It's made from paint, right? It's cosmetics. Every game that has this, you know, in-game purchases, it's usually cosmetic things like skins. But I would much more enjoy, you know, again, going looking for rare ones that you can't necessarily buy. It would make me want to play the game more. But right now they're trying to fund the game. The game's not out. So they don't want you to play the game more. They want you to give them more money. Which is kind of the situation we're in right now, right? There's a lot of people that don't play anymore, haven't played for a while, because there's nothing that's bringing them back into the game. There's nothing that makes them want to come back and play. And that's where I'm at, right? I'm excited for 3.17. I hope it's going to be fun and immersive and interesting. But the thing I'm waiting for more than anything is Cargo Refactor, right? So, and Pyro. But yeah, anyways, continue.
I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all next week.
Alright, so, interesting one. Not as exciting as last week's. Last week's was more of a, this is, get excited. This one was more, you know, it was still interesting. It was still interesting. I think for me, the loot system, I'm happy they're adding legendary stuff. I'm happy they're adding like tiered stuff and stuff that you can't buy in store. I'm a big fan of that. I hope they introduce new legendary stuff that actually looks cool. Because right now they're just taking stuff out of the store, which I'm fine with. And they're making it so you can only get it in loot boxes. But it, you know, it doesn't look that great, right? Because even, I don't know what they're doing yet, but I know what's currently in the store, and there's nothing in the store that I would be like, wow, you know? There's no armor that I wear from the store that I think is worthy of a legendary item. But it's cool that they're doing that. But I hope in the future, they create unique ones, just like they do for the subscriber flare and stuff like that. They create stuff that's really sick, just like they did where you had to go to there was that PvP skin, there was the one where you had to go to what was it, Benny Henge, that sort of stuff's sick. I know again though they're trying to fund the game, so they want people to buy these skins when they make these cool elusive skins. But yeah, I hope they make loot boxes. Here's my issue is it's difficult for them, and I do feel bad because yes, they want people to play the game and give them cool gameplay and get people back in and play in, but they also need funding still to make the game and pay all their employees. So there's a lot of things that I think that you shouldn't pay for, and it should be content in game, right? Whether it's a specific ship that you can only get in game once you've completed certain missions, or whether it's certain armor and items and guns and weapons or skins. But instead, the way they do it is they sell that stuff to fund the game, where I feel like it shouldn't. It should be gameplay. But I feel like they're comfortable with the people that are playing the game already, and they're trying to get new people in, right? It's like a bank. You know, the new people they get in get way better rates, way better deals, way better all this stuff than existing members. And you think, like, dude, I've been banking with you for, let's say, 10 years or something. How come these new people are getting better things than I am? Because they want new people. And it's any business is like that. And it's the same with this game. You know, they want to focus more on getting new people in than they do, you know, giving stuff to the community that's been around for a while. But I think in order to get new people, you need your core community in-game playing it. You need content creators. I mean, they are literally your bread and butter when it comes to advertising your game. You know, I used to make a video a day on Star Citizen. Now I do like one a week, just because there's nothing for me to do. But yeah, I don't know. I'd love to know your guys' opinions on it. As far as the jumping thing, where they now have it so it's random and you could die or you could not, I think I still can't get around that. I don't know if my brain is just looking at it the wrong way, but that does not make any sense to me. I think that's kind of stupid. I think stuff like that should be consistent. You should know how far you can push things before you injure yourself. I feel like that's what creates the skill gap, right? You want to create a skill gap in a game. You don't want a huge skill gap, but you want there to be a skill gap. You want people to get better and learn things. And one of those things is stuff like that. Knowing your limits. But when you introduce probability, and you could, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, I think that's kind of, I don't like that idea at all. Am I blurry? I don't know why I got blurry. I don't know how long I was blurry for. My bad. But yeah, I don't like that probability thing at all. I think it's stupid. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for 317. As far as medical gameplay. Yeah, like I say, it just doesn't really interest me that much. It's not because I don't like it. No, it is. It's exactly what it is. It's just personal preference. I'm sure there's loads of people out there that love it. You know, for me, if I had to choose between, you know, being like a bounty hunter and medical, where let's say you have a cutlass black, or let's say you get to choose a cutlass blue or a cutlass red, right? Cutlass red, you can fly around, heal people, bring them onto your ship and fix them up or take them to hospital or whatever. Cutlass blue, you get to bounty hunt and, you know, grab them and freeze them on your ship and take them for the bounty and stuff like that. That's cool. I prefer that than medical. Same with mining. I don't enjoy mining. Loads of people do. But I think with what I was saying earlier, if to the point where the Pioneer comes out and you need materials to build your homestead, right, with the Pioneer ship, you're going to need materials to do that. I hope to God that's how they implement it, where you need materials. And for that, I would enjoy mining. You bet I would. Because there's a reason that gives me something to do. I would 100% be mining like 5 hours a day just to get materials so that I could bring them back to my Banu and sell them. Like, that I enjoy. I enjoy that economy. I enjoy that trading aspect of it. But mining, for the most part, I don't enjoy. But given that people will need materials, then I will enjoy mining. But yeah, okay, it wasn't as cool as last week for me. But last week they talked about Pyro. They talked about trading. They talked about, the whole series ship and the trading, cargo refactor and stuff like that. This week, it was still interesting. But yeah, some things were kind of weird, but anyway. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on this video, though. Do you agree with anything that I said? Do you disagree? Do you have different opinions? Please, I honestly want to know in the comment section. Because it helps me understand what people enjoy and don't enjoy. So when I talk about things, I can talk as a community, a Star Citizen community versus just an individual, right? I want to be able to say people don't like that instead of it being like I don't like that. You know what I mean? Or people love that instead of I love that. I want to be able to talk about not just me, but do the community in general like or dislike things. So I would love to know if you do or don't like any things I talked about. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Turn on the little ding-dong notifications. If you want to help support the channel even further, you can consider becoming a member. Thank you to all the members. I appreciate it. We're going to start streaming again. I just need to do... There's like a bloody dragon outside. Whether it's exploring... for loot coming up so we can find loot, or maybe trading's going to be fixed, or maybe we go looking for this Pico Cave. I know, Wild, you had mentioned you wanted to go looking for the Pico Cave. I don't want to waste my time at the moment because we don't know where it is. You know what I mean? It could be on any moon, any planet. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, there supposedly is a cave that's full of Picos that's hidden in the game that no one has found yet. But this verse, even as it is, just Stanton is so freaking big. Even if they said, okay, we're going to eliminate all these moons and planets, it's on Microtech. Even then, Microtech is massive. It would take years. But yeah, love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon with a brand new video. Bye.